Deputy Ó Ríordáin. 1 minute, 36 seconds.
Thanks, Secretary Hirig. And I've been working very closely with councillors Jane Horgan-Jones and Judy Dunn in Fingal, and also with Bria McDonough on this particular issue. And I want to join out with Deputy Humphreys in thanking the council workers, as I know you will yourself, Minister, who are absolutely excellent on the ground over the extended Christmas period. A number of direct points that I can, Minister. The Royal Haskening Report 2005 as implementation hasn't, which affects the entire north side strip, North County Dublin going up to Clontarf, hasn't been implemented in full. And if I could get a report on its implementation, not all of that report necessarily is desirable. A lot of it has to be done in consultation with relevant stakeholders. But I think it's something that is obviously there and needs to be worked upon. And if it had been implemented, some of the damage that was caused wouldn't necessarily have taken place. The main artery between Baldoyle and Portmarnock has been very badly affected, and people have been flooded out of their homes. And particularly your work family there were very badly affected. And the local authority there does not view this as a main artery, but there has been huge development there since 2005, and an awful lot more development planned. So I think I would like you and your department to assess that with the local authority if you could. I want to echo the comments of Deputy Humphreys in relation to the insurance companies, and we've had the discussion many times, Minister, about flood insurance, about the effect it has on the householder, about the value of the property collapsing as a result. And your engagement with the Insurance Federation throughout this period is absolutely key. As improvements are made, as investment comes online, that they are kept informed day by day, improvement by improvement, so that they can reflect with their own insurance companies or the insurance companies that they deal with, and that should be reflected in the individual situations of individual householders. And the last thing I would say, Minister, this is not going away. This is going to be a thing that will repeat year after year because of the nature of climate change, and I think we really have to work together in order to find long-term solutions for it.
And Minister, I invite you to conclude. I'd ask you to maybe be generous in a waiver of 30% of the 10 minutes and to keep your remarks to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Lascian Corla, colleagues, thank you very much. And I'm sorry we hadn't more time for this, quite frankly. We needed more time to discuss this, and I'm available at any stage to come back to the House to discuss this matter. Taking up the last point that Deputy Ó Ríordáin made, this problem is not going away. The reality of climate change has to be confronted. The truth is, it's only in recent years that we started to ramp up expenditure on capital flood relief schemes, big and small, all over the country. And where we've put in that investment in places like Clonmel and in Mallow and in Waterford, the difference is enormous. Along the Tolka, along the Poddle, we have put in place enormous savings for people. But that takes a lot of money. 390 million has been spent in the last 10 years, and that has given a lot of protection to people. This government is spending €250 million over a 5-year term, 45 million a year on an annualised basis. And yes, to resolve all the problems in the country, you would need billions every year, and that's not economically viable. So we've got to make sure that we have a cost-benefits model, that the funding actually resolves the problem to the greatest number of people and communities and businesses up and down the country. We also need buy-in from communities. We had a case in your own constituency 2 years ago where we had funds ready to go, Dublin City Council had funding to go, and then we found 4,000 people objecting to the proposal that we were making. Yeah, but we all saw the pictures in Clontarf a few weeks ago. That's the reality that we face. We need buy-in from the community on this. These are difficult measures that we sometimes have to go through and support. Barriers are often ugly. They can be made look aesthetically beautiful, possibly. But there's a lot of maturity needed in this debate because this issue is not going away. I want to echo what colleagues said in terms of the emergency services, the council staff especially, the police especially, and those involved in the emergency service did a terrific job on the scale and the depth of the scale of this storm some weeks ago. In my own department, we have responsibility for flood relief, as you know. We have now written to every local authority. We've asked them for applications. And I repeat what I said last week, Lascian Corla. As those applications come in from those counties worst affected, we will make sure that those applications are prioritised and turned around in a matter of weeks so that we can get money quickly to those local authorities to resolve those issues. The priorities have to be around repairing the existing flood relief schemes that are there, where they're under our control, and making sure that we patch up those particular problems, particularly in light of the fact that at the end of this month we will see more significant waves again. I also think it's important to say that government has worked in a coordinated way under the leadership of the Department of the Environment in this area, because this has been a weather event. I attended the emergency planning meeting last week and was most impressed to see all of the players around the table working out a solution and trying to get funding in place to those communities worst affected. We have an initial assessment of about 65 million from the western counties, especially, who are worst affected. We've asked within a month that a more detailed breakdown will be obtained from each of the counties, and as those applications come in each of the departments, be it agriculture, marine, OPW, transport, environment, wherever, that we will make sure that we can get those monies out there to people. Whether more funding will be needed, I think, is an issue that we will have to return to, quite frankly, as we ensure that the repair work continues. But I'm very confident, that there is huge support in government to make sure that we can reach out to those communities and help those communities who have been so devastated as a consequence of these particular storms in the last number of weeks. Lessons need to be learned, colleagues, in this. This is a natural occurrence, and as colleagues said, this problem is not going away. But the truth is, there's some pretty horrendous planning and development decisions have been taken by local authorities up and down this country. And that's a reality that we've got to confront. We've also got to weigh up whether we can repair areas of the country, even though within a year or two the infrastructure might be knocked out again. Is that cost beneficial? We've got to take a much more holistic view, particularly on the question of coastal erosion. Coastal erosion is a natural occurrence. And we've got to make sure that in our planning and development, we don't make decisions which create difficulties for those families and businesses. Seeing some of the kind of decisions that have been taken, houses put on the side of cliffs and the like, you are inviting difficulty and trouble. And that's just the reality that we have got to. So I hope that lessons are learned from this in terms of a much more holistic view when it comes to proper planning and proper development. As I have said, we have got to make sure that we can turn around these applications and to show cause to the local authorities, who are the first line of defence in any emergency like this. And I know the Cabinet discussed this issue this week. I know that in all of the schemes, be it on transport, environment or wherever, that we will make sure that we can turn around these applications and deliver the funds to these communities. Can I say this as well, that I have visited many parts of the country and I've met communities who have been so affected by flooding in the past. Huge psychological damage is done to people as a result of these events. I know that. And we have got to make sure that people can be given the support that they need so that their communities can get up on its feet again. Enormous goodwill has been created in many parts of the country as a result of these events. People are working together as communities. They're showing great spirit in showing the community at large that they're going to fight this thing, and they need to get the support of their local and national government in doing that. And in anything we can do in the OPW by way of using our resources to help repair the damage that is done to flood defences, be assured we will. We have priority, obviously, for things like arterial drainage, which are under our responsibility, and we will be drawing up a list, and I'll be publishing it, the works that we have done in the last 2 weeks amongst the 400 people who work in the OPW in this area, and I want to thank them for their support there as well.
Thank you, Minister. Agus an sin